We know we need to say something different, but we want to say something meaningful, something that our clients actually care about. Otherwise, we're just different in a not relevant way. So I'm going to share with you what I think clients really care about, and let's start with the list and then dive deep into each one of them with some examples. So clients care about results. They care about the time it takes to complete the work. They care about what services you provide, if that's meaningful or different. They care about the process of how the work is being done, and they care about the experience of working with you. All these things can each be turned into a message that's unique and that's meaningful to clients. And let's see how that's being done. So talking about results, okay? What results are you going to help them to achieve? If you can talk about that, that can be very, very meaningful and unique, because as we've saw previously, most people don't talk about what results they're going to help you achieve, okay? Now, this does not mean that you're going to guarantee the result, okay? We are designers, web developers. We build the work. We're trying to do something, but we can't, there's a lot of factors that go in it. But saying that, for example, you want to help them increase sales does not mean that you guarantee that you're going to increase sales, but it does mean that that's the focus of your work. That's the kind of compass that's guiding how you work, and that's very meaningful to clients, because if you're going to talk about the results that they're looking for, then that's meaningful to them. Now, again, you might not be the only one in the world that can help them with that, but again, nobody else is saying this, so it's just enough that you say that you are the one that's focused on, let's say in our example, increase sales. The fact that you're saying I'm a designer with a focus of increasing sale means that you own the space, because nobody else is doing this, and that puts you in a great position. So here's one example. This is from an agency that's called Superhero Cheesecake. It's actually an excellent agency, and they say, this is actually the hero, screenshot of their hero from their website. We create impactful digital experience that attract and engage. So here they're talking about two results: attraction, which means getting traffic, and engage, meaning that people are, being engaged with the content that they create. And attraction and engagement are two kind of results that a lot of clients are looking for. They know they want to have more customers, and they want those customers to be engaged. They're not just looking to increase traffic on their website. They actually want people engaged, leaving their detail, purchasing, and that kind of stuff. So by stating that what they will do is going to attract and engage their audience is meaningful, is promising to focus on these results. Again, they're not guaranteeing that, some kind of a 5% engagement rate or something like this, but they're just stating that this is their focus, and this is very, very meaningful. Okay, let's talk about time that it takes to complete a project. Can you promise a specific time frame for delivery? You have no idea how important that is. When clients go in to do a project, they are so worried about this now taking so much time. They usually want to have the project delivered yesterday because they're stressed on time. So if you can commit, or if you can talk about how long it takes to complete the project, that is very, very meaningful for your clients. If you can be the fastest while still delivering good result, this is very meaningful. A lot of designers have this conflict. They think if they're working too fast, maybe the client shouldn't pay them a lot, but we're not being compensated for our hourly rate. We shouldn't work slower because we want more money. Clients actually value when the work is delivered fastest, okay? And if you can promise them that the work that you're going to do is going to save time for them. For example, I'm going to build you a website that's going to be twice as fast, easier to maintain. Saving time for businesses is just as equal as saving money, because everybody realizes time equals money. If I have people working on this project for 2 weeks instead of 1 month, I've saved up 2 weeks of salary. So time is money. If you're delivering something faster, if you're saving me time, that's worth money. That's something that I care about. So here's an example. This is the website of AJ and Smart. They're good friends of mine. They're an agency that does design sprints, and their main messaging here is better products faster. Okay, we help the best companies in the world create products that innovate better and faster. The idea here is that if you work with us, instead of doing a project that would take 4 months, we can have a process that will help you do this in 4 weeks. So all their messaging goes around talking about how fast they can help them achieve their process, create their product, and innovate faster. This is what they're focusing on, and it's very, very meaningful to clients. The next thing that is important to clients is services, but not general services, right? If you state I'm doing branding or I'm doing website, everybody else say that. So the question here is, can you provide a service that no one else is providing? And a lot of time people have those kind of skills that are not very popular. For example, some people, they do hand calligraphy, or they have these kind of skills that a lot of people don't really have. And it's worth talking about this if they are meaningful to your clients. Now, another thing that can be interesting is a unique bundling of services. So if you have a few skills that most people do not have, that can be really interesting. If you're a designer that can also code, that's valuable. If you're a designer that can also take photos and create videos for your clients, that's a unique bundle, because everybody would rather work with somebody who can solve more problems for them rather than working with multiple vendors. So that would save them time, money, and hassle. So a unique bundling of services that nobody else can provide can be very meaningful. And the example here is my website, actually, because I found out that my unique background in branding and product design, because I worked as a product designer in a startup company, but before that I worked in a branding agency, I found out that to be a unique combination of skills that most people don't have. Most people are either kind of work their way doing product design and UX, UI design, working through products and interfaces, or they had experience in branding and understanding those kind of processes. And in the startup world, that unique combination of kind of advertising, branding together with product thinking was pretty much unique, and that was my unique selling proposition. It was very, very valuable for my clients, because usually they either had to hire 2 different people, or hire an internal person for product design and then work with an agency for branding and marketing. And when they could work with me and get both of them for the same price, that was very meaningful to them. The next thing that is worth talking about is your process, if it's unique and if it's valuable for your clients. So are you using a clear process for delivering results? Can you state that process? Okay, a design sprint is an example for that, because it puts it's a name for a very clear process that clients can know what they're going into and what to expect. They know that this is, for example, a 5-day process, and that it looks like day 1, day 2, day 3, and that then they're getting the result. They know that you're using some kind of a framework. Now, it's better if you can come up with maybe a unique framework that you can own, and that really puts you in a position to be unique in the market. And a lot of times I've seen a lot of designers do this. They kind of mix up multiple frameworks that they took from different aspects, and they just put their name on it. But it's very important, because it gives the client clarity that this person is an expert. They know what they're doing, and they're owning some kind of a unique process. So here's an example. This is a website of a studio called Under, of 2 of good friends of mine based here in Israel. And they invented a process which they call a brand sprint. Okay, basically what they do is they're doing kind of a branding process, but they promise you to do this within just like a few days. And so and they've named it brand sprint. Nobody else is using this concept of a brand sprint. And so they kind of own this process, and it puts the client at ease, because first of all, they know that they have some kind of a unique process that they can buy from them and they can't buy anywhere else. Also, it's kind of a little bit like talking about the time, right? Because sprint also puts you in the mood of this is something that's fast. So this is a way to kind of invent and own your own trademarked process. And again, as long as you give this a name, it doesn't matter if it's not very different from what a lot of people are doing. as long as you trademark it and give it a name and a process, that sounds different and meaningful to the client. Now, the last thing is customer experience, and people do care when they're hiring a freelancer or a person to work with. They do care about how it is working with them, and I've seen this with my students who got feedback from their clients. A lot of them were talking about how meaningful it was working with them, how good it was, the experience of working with them personally. Now, you need to understand that no matter what you do, no matter if you use the same processes as other people, if you went to the same school, if your work looks the same, as good quality as other people, you are a unique person. So the way that you interact, the way that you talk, your personality is different. So working with you will for sure be different. And if you can state that in a way that's appealing to them, then this can be meaningful. And again, we got this feedback from a lot of clients of my students. They thought that they should focus on something like the process or saving time, but their clients came back and say to them, well, actually the most meaningful thing to me was the fact that you were trustworthy, the fact that you were always on time, the fact that you were nice and funny, and these kind of things end up being very, very meaningful to the clients. So if you give a good service and it's fun to work with you and it's a great experience, it's worth talking about. And again, it doesn't matter if it's unique or not. Most people don't talk about anything, as you've seen in the example where I showed you. Most people are just generic. So if you just mention that you care about giving good service, that puts the customers at ease and saying, oh, that's great. They're talking about they care about giving good service, and that's something that is meaningful for me. Okay? And everybody, when they're hiring people, when they're working with people, they want to have fun, right? That's their work. They want to know that they'll have a good time working with you. They can trust you. They'll have a good time. A lot of the clients that I know, a lot of other freelancers and agencies, the only reason that they even have an office or is to make sure that the clients have fun. A lot of times clients that are not in creative industries have usually boring offices, and they actually hate being in their office. And so when the designer takes them out either to lunch at a kind of a nice hipster cafe or invites them to their office, which is nicely decorated, it's a good time for them and it's a great experience for them. So when you think about the experience of having the clients and what their life looks like and how interacting with you, the creative, puts some magic in their life, that can be very, very meaningful to them. Okay, so make sure they understand that they'll be treated well, and that'll be very meaningful to them. So here's an example. This is an example from Marco. He's a product designer and visual developer, and he made his website a little bit about him, right? So he put his photo there. He made it much more personal in the fact that he's talking about, what he's doing. So he says, I'm specializing in UX, UI design. I believe no-code solutions are the future of work. So that puts a little bit of personality. That talks a little bit about what he believes in. And, you can guess from looking at this how working with him is going to be. So that's an example about giving a little bit about the person that they're going to be working with. Now, the goal of this week is going to be thinking about all these different factors that client cares about, and you can probably come up with different things in each category that are relevant to you. You can brainstorm that, and that's going to be part of the homework. But what our goal here is to make a decision about which one do you want to stand out with, because like most things in life, if we're going to try and say too much, it's going to end up being confusing. And so we'll want to just pick one that is most meaningful to our clients and stick to that. And by the end of this week, we'll also validate with our clients to know that we pick the right one. So at this point, what we will do is brainstorm many ideas around these categories.